Okay, so normally, I wanted to break this down, right, with the seeds, but I feel like this is like some sort of a new thing that a lot of um, like pages and people are starting to do, where they're comparing like beef products with like vegetarian products, right? And you know, I'm not a hardcore against animals or animal meat consumption. I'm not hardcore like that. I'm not like a hardcore vegan or vegetarian, but I just look at everything from the numbers of nutrition, right? And so I was talking about spirulina before, right? So you got like a 3.5 ounce steak or 100 grams, and then you have 100 grams of spirulina, and it's doing a side by side comparison of the spirulina to the steak, right? So this is very misleading because, yeah, of course, the spirulina is gonna beat the steak in a lot of ways, like the vitamin A, the calcium, the protein. Like, there's so many different ways that it so-called beats the steak, right? But why is it misleading? Well, 3.5 ounces of steak, which is heavy, is very practical and easy to eat. You cook it the right way, it smells good, it probably tastes good if you're used to it, and you can bust it down easily. 100 grams of spirulina, though. First of all, spirulina is disgusting. The protein, which is high, I'm pretty sure, to my understanding, is not bioavailable the same way animal meat is, protein wise, or amino acids, which is basically all the little components of protein. Your body's not going to be able to absorb it because it's quite frankly like algae. It's a vegetarian source of protein, and we know that vegetarian sources of protein are lacking in amino acids. So the basic components of protein, when it comes to vegetarian sources, they're not bioavailable or being able to be absorbed from by the human body the way animal meat does. It's just what it is. So you're gonna be like up and down with the amino acids that make up protein. So what that means is you'll have like all these little amino acids that make up protein, like valine, like leucine, like L-arginine, like all these different names that make up 1 gram of protein. So the leucine may be high in spirulina, but the valine, which has its own like tryptophan, that's another one. These are all like amino acids that have their own functions, and while one may be high, one may be completely lacking. So you have to mix another food item just to make up the one that's down. And that's always the case with vegetarian eating. That's why you always have to combine proteins. You don't ever have to do that with animal, like an egg. That's why it's 100% bioavailable, or 90 something percent bioavailable. You don't have any amino acid that's down. They're all up. So you don't have to eat anything else. If it says 7 grams of protein, you're getting 7 grams of protein that your body's going to absorb. Whereas with spirulina, if you're getting 27 grams of protein, you're not getting all the amino acids that you need. All right. The same thing is in with most grains, nuts, and seeds. So in this case, this is a more fair example, right? Oh, so going back to spirulina, like I said, 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of steak. Anyone can eat that if you like eating steak. You could do it easily. Spirulina, on the other hand, 100 grams of spirulina, first of all, You take a tiny little amount of that green powder and put it in your shake, and you're already complaining like how disgusting this is. Who's gonna eat? Who's gonna consume 100 grams of spirulina? That's why it's misleading. No one's gonna do that. On the flip side, if we're comparing steak to pumpkin seeds, now I always talk about pumpkin seeds because the mineral content is very high. It's a very powerful food item. But once again, one serving of pumpkin seed is a quarter cup, which is 2 tablespoons. No, maybe three, up to 3 tablespoons. But 100 grams, right? Because one serving is 2 tablespoons or a quarter cup, right? That's about 25 grams, pumpkin seed wise, right? So 100 grams is 4 servings. That is 12 tablespoons or a full cup of pumpkin seeds. Once again, steak is heavy, so you're going to be able to eat a 3.5 size serving of steak. It's relatively small. It's a relatively small amount of steak, but a whole cup of pumpkin seeds, pretty nasty again. Who's going to eat that much pumpkin seeds? Even spread out throughout the whole day, it's difficult to eat that much of pumpkin seeds, even if they're roasted and salted. That's why it's misleading. Like, yeah, you could say that this plant-based item is beating this animal-based, but it's misleading because no one's going to eat that much of that plant-based unless you just go nut eating that much. Definitely not going to eat the spirulina. That's why I just wanted to break this down so you all understand that. This new, like, fad of how they're comparing like plant-based items to animal-based items, they're doing it in a very misleading way because people are not knowing that 100 grams of animal product to consume is very easy to do. 100 grams of the plant-based product, because plants are so light in weight compared to animal. That's why it's misleading. No one's eating that much plant-based stuff for that much amount of weight. We're talking about 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. It's just not practical.